I have met practically every leader in the last 40 years. And there were only 3 or 4 leaders who really made a lasting impression on me and, to a certain extent, changed my thinking. And one of those was Mandela. Another one was my teacher at Harvard 50 years ago, Professor Henry Kissinger.
He had a massive impact on Schwab's overarching ideology in the future. And that was partially because Kissinger was mixed up within a lot of groups, including very much the Rockefellers.
And you mentioned, David, Henry Kissinger.
Actually, I guess I was the first one who got to know him because he was a member of an organization called the Council on Foreign Relations in New York.
Now, Henry Kissinger himself, of course, the point man for the Club of Rome and for the ideology of population reduction. The Club of Rome was set up in 1968 by Aurelio Pecci, who was an Italian industrialist, and Alexander King, who was a Scottish chemist.
The Club of Rome comprises some 70 men of widely varying backgrounds, but their common concern is that the world problems cannot be solved by individual nations. I spoke with Dr. Aurelio Pecci, founder of the club, and Dr. Alexander King, director of the World Bank and the United Nations OECD.
They really concentrated on population control, on bringing down the population. They had Malthusian ideas.
It's not some science fantasy effect from 2001. This electronic display emanating from Australia's largest computer is a picture of the condition, past, present and future of planet Earth. It was developed under the auspices of the Club of Rome by an MIT research team to present a complex model of the world and what we humans are doing to it. What it does for the first time in man's history on the planet is to look at the world as one system. It shows that Earth cannot sustain present population and industrial growth for much more than a few decades. It shows that simply cleaning up our car exhausts and making some small effort to limit our families simply isn't enough. The condition of the planet starts to become highly critical, and if we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. The quality of life is going to go right back to practically zero. Pollution is going to become so serious, right out here, that it will start to kill people. So the population will diminish. Right back here, less than it was in the year 1900. And at this stage, around about the year 2040, 2050, civilized life as we know it on this planet will cease to exist.
So this Malthusian idea would go along with the introduction of the World Economic Forum.
Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen hier in Davos.
The world has become so interdependent that entrepreneurs everywhere in the world depend each on another.
I think he's very much the top front man of the ideology of the Rockefellers, Club of Rome, Henry Kissinger. They needed someone in Europe who had had experience with trying to bring people together, bring companies together. Klaus Schwab would say, you know, we have to really, really harness that human capital. And it's very much a sign that they were on the same wavelength as all of the people who had taught him, all the people who had brought them up, and the Club of Rome, and the people who were saying that we need population control if we're going to have success in the future. I think they saw him, Klaus Schwab, as the perfect person to take on their cause and rebrand their cause as something which was environmental rather than population control.
We have continuous partnerships with many governments around the world. And of course, we have NGOs, we have trade unions, we have all those different parts.
Media, of course.
Media, of course, and very important experts and scientists and academia. Because if we are looking at the future, I think we should look at new solutions, and the new solutions will be very much driven by technological development.
Eugenics is a hard thing to spin after World War II. The Malthusian idea of needing a disaster to create their agenda is really important. We could create disasters, or we could create, even if they're not real, we can create them to make sure that our agenda is pushed forward.